Fertilization. Fertilization, you talk about it with all kinds of things, but for human fertilization, we're talking about the sperm cell meeting the egg cell. So sperm cell meeting the egg cell, we're talking about two haploid cells containing 23 chromosomes each for humans and combining to make a new genetically unique human being. Okay, so a couple steps right here: arrival of sperm, then the binding, something called the acrosome reaction and fusion, and then something called the cortical reaction. And then finally, when it starts to divide from a single zygote into multiple cells, then we talk about mitosis. So in the very beginning, the sperm are swimming towards the egg cell up through the oviduct. That's usually where fertilization happens. They're following a chemical gradient that's produced by various cells, including the follicle cells surrounding the actual ovum. The first sperm cell, so we're talking about 500 million trying to make it. By the time they actually reach there, maybe we're down to 20% or less that have actually reached the ovum and are trying to break through the layer of chaperone cells, these follicle cells here. Only one of these hundreds of millions will actually make it. That's one of the toughest races in the world. More impressive than the Amazing Race itself. It binds to an outer layer called the Zona Pellucida, and it's almost like a greeting type of thing. There's a little cap called the acrosome, okay? And the acrosome contains enzymes inside. So what happens is the acrosome opens up, and some of those enzymes called proteases will actually go over and digest the outer layer here. And when the proteases digest the outer layer, that allows the actual cell itself to get in. The proteases will help to digest the root through the zona pellucida in order to reach the plasma membrane. Once it reaches the plasma membrane, then the membranes of the sperm and the egg will actually fuse together, and the sperm nucleus will enter the egg. And once that happens, then all doors get shut down. That's called the cortical reaction. So the cortical reaction, basically, without getting too confused about all these extra things here, the whole point is that once one sperm cell enters, you can't have any others that are entering, right? So once that one enters, then the nuclei fuse. Well, something happens in order to shut down the outer wall to prevent any other sperm cells and their protease enzymes from digesting additional holes through, because we don't want more DNA that are going through there. So what is the cortical reaction? They're small vesicles, and they move to the egg's membrane and they fuse by exocytosis, and they release their contents. And the enzymes that they contain cause glycoproteins to make links with each other. So it's almost like you're building extra scaffolding to prevent anything else from actually coming in. ZP stands as short for the zona pellucida. So it becomes hard and stiff, and nothing else can actually come in, and so therefore blocks further entry, thereby sealing the deal between this one successful winner and the others all get sent out. There is no second place or third place in this whole process here. Once we get that one zygote formed as a result of the fusing between the one sperm cell and the one egg cell, then these cells start to duplicate by mitosis normally, and then you end up with 2 cells, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, so on and so forth. And at that stage we call it an embryo. Okay, that's the basic process of fertilization. Key things, key vocabulary words here are the acrosome reaction and the cortical reaction. Being able to explain the purpose of each is going to be very important. The rest of it is pretty commonsensical. All right, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them. That is the process of fertilization.